はい。
Welcome to Season 4 of Yuzuru Hanyu is my emergency contact, the FanyuFanme Podcast. Or, more fitting, Season Quad. During Yuzu's maintenance period, FanyuFanme also took an extended break between seasons. And while I haven't been writing blog posts, except for one, or recording podcast episodes, except for one, I've been filling my shelves with Yuzu magazines. I'm looking at you, T-Japan. And Blu-rays. I'm looking at you, On Loop, Gate of Living. And counting the minutes until we see Yuzu again. I even had enough time to appear on a different podcast, Shopaholics Japan, produced by our Yuzu merch friends at World Shopping Global. It was an entire episode dedicated to Yuzu. When they asked me to talk about what sets Yuzu apart, I thought, I'm pretty sure I can do that. I'm always happy to talk about Yuzu, especially to someone who has enough warehouse space for all the overseas Fanyus' Yuzu goods. This is usually the part of the season premiere when I comment on how so much has happened since the last season. Well, a lot has happened, but the majority of it has been inside the secret Fanyu Clubhouse, aka Yuzu's YouTube membership. So unless you know the secret Pooh-san handshake and the password, Omikuji is a good guess, you aren't getting through the door, much like Yuzu at day 1 of Reprayin's saga. Through the combined magic of Yuzu and YouTube, many Fanyus have spent this maintenance period listening to Yuzu, chatting with Yuzu, texting with Yuzu, and receiving thanks from Yuzu. To the Fanyu who thought my post on X thanking Yuzu for his arigatou gozaimasu meant I received an actual physical thank you card in the mail from Yuzu, gomenasai. That would have inspired a completely different podcast episode. But for all the very real, very dedicated Fanyus who don't belong to the YouTube membership, remember that Yuzu is doing this for us all. He didn't say he would do his best forever, only if a membership fee hits your credit card. Yuzu knows our hearts are bigger than our credit limits. Despite the absence, I have still been overwhelmed by moments of, I love him so much. Whether it's a witty comment, a selfless donation, or a swoon-worthy hairstyle on a radio show with Nomura Mansai, that's when the patience starts trying to count the minutes faster. Yuzu will successfully open the door and officially return to us and the ice for Notice Lada 2026 and a new ice story project, Realive. And as Fanyu's reserve hotels, ganbate if you haven't done that yet, purchase airfare, ganbate again, book Shinkansen tickets, and buy hand warmers to take to Ice Rink Sendai, it seemed the perfect time to do an entire episode about the city every Fanyu considers home. It's a new season, and there's no better place to start than Sendai.
せーの、はい。
Holding hands with Yuzu in Sendai. And how many days will you spend in Sendai? If things go according to plan, the rest of my life. Okay, so maybe that isn't exactly how the conversation went at the Sendai Station Tourist Information Center, but close. Upon arriving in Sendai and showing the tourist center my apparently very ambitious list of monuments I wanted to visit, it became clear that one day in Sendai during my trip to Japan for gift wasn't going to cut it. But I happily accepted my Sendai tourism guide with Yuzu on the cover. Photogenic indeed! Walked calmly past cardboard Yuzu without making a scene because I wanted to follow the Sendai rules, and went in pursuit of a bus to Ice Rink Sendai. Fun fact, on the bus ride from Sendai Station to Ice Rink Sendai, you see somewhere around 300 hair salons. While that number may be slightly exaggerated, I stopped counting around 297, I was truly astonished at how many times I thought, that place is cute, I wonder what it... Oh, hair salon. I have to say it seems a fitting homage considering Sendai is home to LGC Hair's most famous client and the human with the best hair in the history of hair. I could feel my heart go doki doki as each bus stop brought us closer and closer to Ice Rink Sendai. It's the next one after the next one. It's the next one. Look, there's the sign. This is it. I can't believe I'm finally... And we've missed it. In retrospect, I'm glad we missed the stop for the rink. Somehow it felt all the more special approaching it on foot. The mountains in the distance. You didn't think we missed it without getting off that bus at the very next stop faster than Yuzu flips open his laptop, did you? I highly recommend missing the stop on your next visit to Sendai too. And depending on which stop you get off, you might be able to get a haircut before you go. Ask for number 11, the LGC. Every part of Sendai felt familiar. Not because I had seen so much of it in videos, not because I could have read the signs well enough to not miss the bus stop, but because I had a friend there, and that friend was Yuzu. In fact, I felt that way about Japan in general. I think Yuzu made every Fanyu feel like they owned Tokyo the day after gift. Why did you choose to visit Tokyo? Because Yuzuru Hanyu asked me to. But nowhere felt as familiar as Ice Rink Sendai. Like many, most, all, Fanyus, I have spent hours upon hours virtually sitting on that skate for fan bench, particularly during share practice. When I arrived at the entrance, I was a little surprised there wasn't a sign over the door that said, Ice Rink Sendai, home of share practice. I mean, really. Now, when I watch the videos, I get newly excited each time Yuzu skates close to that section of the rink, because even though it wasn't at the right time, I was there. I wish I could magically superimpose time so I could have been there at the same time as Yuzu. I promise I wouldn't have bothered him much. But even separated by probably 12 hours, assuming Yuzu didn't give himself a break from training after gift, and who thinks that happened, I found myself wondering how these skate for fan benches aren't as crowded as a Times Square Starbucks. Why don't people come sit here all day? 200 yen to simply bask in Yuzu's aura? Yes, please! I could have sat there forever. Because as I looked around, I saw lots of familiar faces. The AC unit Yuzu hugged, the clock he blurs out in his YouTube videos, the ice entrance he touches and thanks, the helmet return sign where he laced up his skates, the shoe rental Porpoise Yuzu window, the sprinting hall, the sanitized bench, the vending machines Yuzu turned into art. And then you really start to find your mind wandering. Which of the items in the vending machine is Yuzu's favorite? Probably none, because he brings his own Yuzu beverage kit to his practices. But there's possibly a fizzy drink with a medical degree in there that Yuzu would like to cheat with on occasion. And has the machine ever eaten his yen? Can you imagine being the staff member who arrives in the morning to find a note at your workstation saying you need to refund Yuzuru Hanyu 160 yen? Of course, I'm certain he'd just consider it another donation. On a more serious note, this is where Yuzu selflessly comes to practice under cover of darkness. This is where the Lotte Gum for the Game commercial was filmed, and we all remember that famous bench sitting. This is where Yuzu set up his 7-minute battery cameras to make us a Christmas present, all the while knowing he was using that same ice to prepare an even bigger gift for us. This is where Yuzu has battled the quad axle alone over and over and over, and where I am certain he has landed it. This is where Yuzu was the exact second his entire life and the lives of so many more changed on 3/11/11. Perhaps this is why, despite knowing you flew over 7,000 miles, took a 90-minute Shinkansen ride, and walked past 7 hair salons, it is still nearly impossible to believe you are actually there in Yuzu's nest. I couldn't help but wonder if during his middle-of-the-night practices, Yuzu goes into the "you can't take photos in there" photo gallery. Please always follow the rules. To be inspired by Yuzu. I also wondered if the umbrella in the rack by the door had been there to see Yuzu pass by it night after night. And while you want to calm your mind, which has managed to become jealous of a casa in Sendai, and bask in that place where you have so often found blissful refuge from afar, you can't stop the inner voice screaming, "I'm in Ice Rink Sendai!" It was a constant inner dialogue. I wonder if that scuff on the wall is from you. "I'm in Ice Rink Sendai!" Look at the poster Yuzu sign. "I'm in Ice Rink Sendai!" That's where Pooh-san sits while "Ice Rink, Ice Rink, Ice Rink Sendai!" But before you know it, it is time to leave Ice Rink, Ice Rink, Ice Rink Sendai, and you think your heart might break, break, break. I will save up that 200 yen and those other associated costs to return to you Itsuka. Thank you, Ice Rink Sendai, for being Yuzu's nest where he learned to fly, and thank you, Sendai, for being the safe place for him to land when he needs to rest his wings. While in Sendai, I took the pictures I have seen a million times on Twitter. The Yuzu in the Ice Rink Sendai lobby, the Yuzu in the Sendai Tourist Info Center, who happens to look an awful lot like the Yuzu in the Ice Rink Sendai lobby, the outside of Sendai Station, the Olympic monuments, a Zunda Mochi cup. The love for Yuzu in Sendai is palpable everywhere you go, especially in the KHB TV station, where you can hear Guriri shouting, "Yuzuzu!" even from inside his glass condo in the lobby. P.S. Get the banana smoothie at the Guriri Cafe. Every Fanyu, no matter their language, can recognize the kanji for Sendai. In fact, I was having Christmas sushi with my best friend, who we still call Cactus, mere days before I entered the ticket lottery for gift, and there was a map of Japan in the restaurant lobby. As we went out into the cold night air, I placed my "We Love Irene" gloved hand over the Sendai kanji and said, "Aw, Sendai." Little did I know that in a little over 2 months, I would be boarding the Shinkansen displaying that same beautiful kanji on my way to Yuzu's beloved Sendai. Fanyus spend their entire Fanyu lives loving Sendai too. Even if you haven't been introduced to it at Thanksgiving yet, you know it is always Yuzu's +1. He makes sure it gets the credit it deserves. He visited it as much as possible, even when he had to be away. He gives it presents, very nice ones. He has dedicated himself to bandaging its cuts and bruises, and he is going to love it forever. And anything Yuzu loves deserves our love and respect too. I ended my too short day in Sendai as dusk was falling and Yuzu was probably just waking up. My last stop, Yuzu's Olympic monuments. As we looked for the door to exit the station to find them, I worried that by the time we did, it would be too dark to see them. I knew I shouldn't have stopped to buy those gyutan potato chips. And then, miraculously, I saw them out the window, as if Yuzu had teleported them there just in time for me. I almost said I looked out the window and there was Yuzu, but even my heart couldn't take the wording of that sentence, and I knew I didn't mean I saw actual Yuzu. "Arigatou gozaimasu, Yuzu," I thought as I placed my hand on Yuzu's handprint, "for this and everything else you have given me, the Fanyus, and the world. P.S. Yuzu has a very long thumb. Really. Also P.S. Don't take that the wrong way, Earth-Yuz. Even though it was the last thing I did on my Yuzu Sendai list, and even though I didn't touch my hand to Yuzu's until 1741 Japan Standard Time, I felt like he had been holding my hand all day. In Sendai.
完成です。
I have placed my hand on the magical Sendai kanji in my local sushi restaurant every time I have entered the ticket lottery. And so far, every time I have won. Gift, repray, and echoes of life. I would disclose the location of this mystical wallpaper, but then this restaurant would have to install a vending machine in their lobby to issue tickets for 200 yen. And purchase a Yuzu cardboard cutout. Those are hard to find. And no, I'm not speaking from experience. Yeah, I wouldn't believe me either. As much as I wish to be announcing that FanyuFanme is going to Notice Delata, I didn't visit the magical Sendai kanji for the Note lottery. It just wasn't possible for me to make the trip. Despite many threats to, quote, do something crazy and enter anyway! Yes, Yuzu, your gravitational pull is very strong, particularly when you're in Sendai. In fact, I think it would be a good idea for Sendai to put into effect a Found Fanyu program. Fanyus visiting Sendai for the first time, or those who have been before yet still can find themselves as lost as a non-Japanese speaking Fanyu during one of Yuzu's Menship radio experiments, can check in at the Sendai Tourist Information Center to receive their very own Found Fanyu lanyard. This way, Sendai citizens can easily identify us if we've inadvertently wandered from the pack. As if the gift blousons, ice story hoodies, and Winnie the Poohs don't give us away enough. They can simply hand you a Zunda Kit Kat and deliver you to any number of checkpoints. The Nanakita park bench with the cat. It's been there long enough, I think we can safely say it's not a baby kitty. Ice Rink Sendai, where at any given moment there is at least one Fanyu in the fetal position on the ice, either because they are having a spiritual moment, or because they have at last realized how hard what Yuzu does actually is, and they are now regretting renting those skates at the porpoise window. Any restaurant serving gyoza, double points if that gyoza is green, and triple points if there is a napkin autographed by Yuzu hanging framed on the wall. Because it is easy for us Fanyus to get overwhelmed by our Sendai surroundings. Sendai is the closest thing we will ever get to a Yuzu theme park. Maybe. It is Yuzu World, Yuzu Land, Universal Yuzudios, and we all want lifetime passes. One thing I wasn't prepared for when I visited Sendai was how much, from the moment I left, I desperately wanted to return. Part of my heart is always in Sendai. I think this is true for every Fanyu, whether they've been there yet or not. And that is largely thanks to Yuzu and his ice.
せーの、はい。
Yuzu's Ice. I'm here to leave my heart for Yuzuru Hanyu. This is what I feel I should say as I hand my 200 yen vending machine ticket to the front desk attendant at Ice Rink Sendai. This place, next to a hardware store, behind a pasta restaurant, across the street from a coffee shop, this unassuming place, with its cobblestone entry and floodlights and storefront doors, holds the heart of every Fanyu because of what has been created here, and by who. When I go to Japan, my friends ask, why do you want to spend so much time at Ice Rink Sendai? And I want to respond, why did Alice want to go through the looking glass? You enter a world that seems to only exist on the other side of a TV screen. Everything I love most has been created, battled, and perfected here. You're not only close to Yuzu, but you're close to Seimei, and Haku, and Ashura-chan, and Haru, and Romeo. Oh, Romeo. And yes, even Origin. So many of Yuzu's children were born here. The dynamic, dramatic, poetic, and epic who have come to entertain us, move us, comfort us, and live with us. I once compared us Fanyus to a swarm of killer bees, ready to attack anyone that threatened to harm Yuzu. But when it comes to Sendai, we are more like locusts. Luckily, we are economically friendly locusts. Because while we're pouring love into Ice Rink Sendai, we're pouring money into the city of Sendai, and actually all of Japan. Both times I have visited Sendai have been during Fanyu's Take Japan events, gift and repray. And after seeing how books and newspapers and Irene gloves and Zunda and anything Haku related at the Studio Ghibli store were sold out, I was surprised Ice Rink Sendai wasn't a pile of shaved ice once I got there. Fanyus. We even sold out the Dr. Peppers in the Ice Rink Sendai vending machines. My first thought? Well, of course we sold those out. My second, more important thought? I hope Yuzu always brings his own. though I think we all know he rarely allows himself to get one. I hope they make Dr. Pepper flavored electrolyte powder. If the Fanyus could, we would buy not only Ice Rink Sendai, but the entire city and gift it to Yuzu. Do you like that hotel? It's yours. Do you like that bench? It's yours. Street sign? Yours. Zelkova tree? Yours. We want to take him on a date and buy him a nice dinner and a prefecture to do with whatever he likes. Visiting Ice Rink Sendai gives you a 360-degree point of reference to this place in the world. The bus stop where you're never sure if the bus was super early or super late. The Colonel Sanders statue outside the nearby KFC. The bookstore across the street with its robust supply of multicolor pens. The Fun Tay sign illuminated on the side of the road by lights nearly eclipsed by the snow as I bid my farewell during a blizzard. Yes, I hit the Fanyu snow in Sendai jackpot that day. Inside, you sit on the blue bench where Yuzu famously removed one pair of pants to reveal another pair of pants. And you wish you could have been sitting there when Yuzu walked down that same hallway while wearing his Gate of Living costume. But let's be honest, is there anything sexier than Yuzu at Ice Rink Sendai? In double pants. It somehow magnifies his Yuzu-ness. Maybe it's because it's where he's most comfortable. Maybe it's because it's where he's most creative. Or maybe it's because it is the only place with a strong enough air conditioner for him. Because dang is it cold in there. We love what Yuzu loves. Winnie the Pooh, Back Number, Mrs. Green Apple, Dr. Pepper, gyoza, and after having Aoba gyoza at Sendai Station, I wouldn't care if Yuzu loved it or not. That stuff is oishi! There is no question that Yuzu loves Ice Rink Sendai, and I love that he doesn't gut the surroundings for his post-show credits or YouTube channel. There is no attempt to make it theatrical, no addition of curtains or changing of lighting, no attempt to hide what it is. It is what it is, his home, and we love it that way. We love the Pepsi banner and the cardboard boxes and the lockers. We even clearly know where to rent skates or return helmets. But it isn't just a place for us all to love. It is a place for us to bring love. There is a connection between Yuzu and the Fanyus, and Ice Rink Sendai is a concrete, real-life Google Map pin of that connection. There is always a Fanyu sitting on the bench, heart completely full of love for Yuzu and this place and this ice and this carpet-covered bench. It's a daily delivery of love from all over the world. He has to feel the love and adoration that is constantly being poured into this building for him. He just comes in and picks it up later that night. It's like our own version of the Olympic torch. We keep the light burning for Yuzu. Can't land that jump? Ganbatte from the heart in France. Sore muscles? Yasunde kudasai from the heart in Canada. Need a nap? Oyasumi from the heart in India. Feeling overwhelmed? Daijobu from the heart in America. Little known fact, all hearts are fluent in Japanese. Konnichiwa. I wonder if Chisai Yuzu ever dreamed he would be the king of Ice Rink Sendai. Probably. As he was crying about getting thrown out of the rink, I wish he could have told himself that one day he'd sell out the vending machines he was probably using for pitching practice with baseballs made from the rink's flyers. That Oki Yuzu would have to go there to practice in the middle of the night because he had become so famous, so accomplished, so beloved, and that his heart would still be so big that he didn't want to deprive other Chisai skaters a home to call their own. Don't cry, Chisai Yuzu. People are going to come here someday to buy gold ice cream spoons. All because of you and what you will create on this ice. And now that we know he has been creating new things for us, it's like he's been etching a new love letter in invisible ink on that ice. Stories that will challenge us, enlighten us, encourage us. Programs that will find permanent homes in our hearts and make us question how we ever lived without them. costumes and hair that will, well, we know what those will do. The story is already in the ice. There was a time when Fanyus visited Ice Rink Sendai, unaware Yuzu would arrive that night and skate Haku for the first time before Gift, or film the closing for Repray, or take his Gate of Living costume out of a suitcase. Do we think it travels in a suitcase? It's hard to believe it travels in a suitcase. Then again, we had no idea what brilliance he had in store for us, but the ice did, and now again he is there, in that same place where we sit on the benches, perfectly perfecting perfection for us. We haven't seen Yuzu's next creation yet, but Ice Rink Sendai has. Soon it will all be revealed, but until then, it is a secret shared only between Yuzu and his ice.
完成です。
So now we wait again. Whether you sit on the Skate for Fan bench before or after an ice story, or an ice story project, or a nota stellata, or a commercial or music video you didn't even know was happening, you can always sit with the confidence that something you haven't seen from Yuzu has already been lovingly etched into that very ice. For you, Fanyu. Yuzu always makes me go Susian. Maintenance period or not, Yuzu has still managed to give me enough content for a new round of HAYAKU Fanyu, the part of the podcast where I allow myself 30 seconds each to speed comment on some Yuzu events, comments, and compelling looks. Unless they're secret. Omikuchi.
早い。
Wine. Hotel? During summer, we experienced a new era of Yuzu photo shoots, the hotel room. We went from a respectable counter or classy fireplace at Wine Studios to, here's a bed, Yuzu, be impressive. I know for a fact that there are locations other than hotel rooms in Sendai. Put him in the McDonald's down the road from Ice Rink Sendai. I mean, the arches are gold, nay. Let him pose by a Zunda vending machine. For the love of Winnie, hand him a bottle of ranch dressing and let him stretch out in front of the giant cabbage in Sendai Station. There has to be a more creative thinker, unless that creative thinker knew exactly what they were doing, and to that I say shame on you! Though I do love the window photos. AKA, the maintenance period. 31 messages from Yuzu. Noticed a lot of 2025 Blu-ray, the art calendar, professional season 3, my colors gift set, always with Yuzu diary, Repray box set, higher appliances, T Japan, Esquire, Harper's Bazaar, Anon, Feathers, Fightin' and Photon and Fightin' and Fightin' and Fightin' and Fightin' again! I could name more, but I only have 30 seconds to get to the joke. While Yuzu titled this his maintenance period, the Fanyus have come to know it by another name, the Yuzuru Hanyu Merchandance period. Fightin' Salon. Fightin' has started promoting a hair and scalp toner, and they wasted no time in picking the perfect spokes hair. I think we can all be pretty sure it isn't Spirulina Maxima extract to thank for Yuzu's hair. Fightin' would need to start selling bottles labeled with the active ingredient as Hanyu DNA. That didn't sound right. But I bet as soon as he was handed the product, Yuzu's first question was, will it also sanitize my bangs? I heart Puton. As soon as you arrive in Sendai, you are greeted with shrink-wrapped cow tongue and an array of Zunda in every possible form. I like to believe that during a meeting of the Sendai City Council, someone said, we've got all these extra cow parts and a vegetable we need to pretend is a dessert. How do we get rid of them? And one wise council member exclaimed, we need Yuzuru Hanyu to say he likes this stuff. Lucky for them, he really does, and thus Yuzu created the two biggest Sendai tourist draws, after himself and Gariri, of course. Shuzuru. The maintenance period gave me so many Yuzus I didn't know I needed. Yuzu with a refrigerator, though Yuzu's past history with appliances made me pretty sure I've always needed this. Yuzu in a fisherman's net. Yuzu as a nutritionist. Yuzu as Danny Zuko from Greece. Yuzu as your grandmother's sofa. But what I most didn't know I needed? Yuzu in sandals! P.S. Nice upgrade on the khaki suit of sin, Gucci. Note goods, one Yuzu. My favorite new noticed a lot of good is the small flashlight, which changes to many different colors during the show, similar to the gift light bracelets. So, if you really think about it, it is a multicolor pen light. Good one, Yuzu, we get it. And we bought it. The Fanyu Prayer of Onagai. From the moment it is announced that we have a new chance to see Yuzu skate, every Fanyu has the same prayer, the Prayer of Onagai. Onagai, I just want to see Yuzu skate again, even if it's only on TV. But soon the prayer gets a bit more specific. And Onagai, I just want to get in the building with a good seat, and more than one show, and once with a better seat, and Yuzu skates my favorite program, and then personally walks me to the shuttle after. But that's all. Onagai! Dream big, Fanyus. Dream big. Yuzu and the security quiz. My favorite aqua quiz answer, unless Yuzu let me select zenbu, was about Yuzu frequently having his luggage checked at airport security. I can just imagine how that conversation goes. Security agent, why do you have a pair of concealed blades, enough electronics to make an explosive, and a hollowed-out stuffed bear? Yuzu, I'm not a criminal, I'm just an otaku figure skater with allergies and a unique situation. Maintenance, truth. I don't think there is a single Fanyu who didn't support Yuzu taking time to rest and heal. After years of worrying about Yuzu's health, safety, and sanity, the Fanyus could rejoice that Yuzu finally allowed himself a break. Yatta! And while I'm certain his maintenance period was taken to improve all of these things, I also think deep down we all know there was another very real reason. And it rhymes with Findendo Smitch Boo. Bonus points if you get that one.
早い。
When Yuzu announced realive, you better believe I made a reservation for magical kanji sushi. And I lost. Epically. The lottery, not the sushi. So there will be no season premiere announcement that FanyuFanme is going to Sendai to see realive. But it's okay. And I'm just going to keep repeating that to myself until I believe it. I had my Origin 2.0 costume reveal moment at the Autumn Classic. I had my Seimei moment at Gift. I had my not at Noticed a Lotta, but Noticed a Lotta moment in the Tokyo Dome. I had my 6 Rose from Gate of Living moment at Repray. I had my anything Eclipse Blue moment at Echoes of Life. And I had my all-time favorite Yuzu and Pooh-san moment when Pooh-san, of his own free will and undying love, kissed Yuzu's forehead at Echo's Day 1 in Chiba. So now it is someone else's turn to have their moments in whatever seat the universe might have given me if it hadn't said, "Not this time, Fanyu!" I sound like I'm handling this really well, don't I? But it's okay. While I help Fanyus find Guriri Cafe from afar, you can follow FanyuFanme on X. It's a new season, why not? Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and FanyuFanme.com. I couldn't be happier. Hontoni! For all the Fanyus who will be returning home to Sendai, or visiting it for the very first time. Trust me, once you get there, you'll understand. But non-Sendai gyoza will never taste as good, so consider yourself warned. And to all the Fanyus not traveling to Sendai, I proudly join your ranks and your prayers of onagai for a live stream that works internationally with subtitles and is followed by a personalized thank you card from Yuzu in the real mailbox. Until next time, it's season 4! Say it with me. Yuzuru Hanyu. Keep on stretching, Yuzu. We'll see you soon, though it won't be in person this time. But it's okay. The FanyuFanme Podcast is a Back to the Forest production.
Back to the forest? Just kidding.